Good morning, Western Washington, and happy Monday. I'm Matthew Fab with Western Washington Weather, and today we're going to take a look at the forecast for the next few days, including our calmer day today and then some more activity coming up later this week. So starting here with the satellite imagery, you can see we have our next system offshore here. It's going to slowly, it's a little bit further out of this image too, and it's going to move toward the area as we go through today and tomorrow, bringing some more rain on Wednesday. We have some showers. You can see these different clouds moving across western Washington this morning, and those will continue and diminish as we go through the day today. So taking a look at the radar image right now, you can see a few areas of showers, one down here toward Portland, one here coming off the Washington coast into parts of the South Sound, and then some up here in the northwest interior there around the San Juans and Skagit and Whatcom counties. And some of these are just moving through the area. They'll diminish as we go to the day today. Maybe we'll bring some more snow to the mountains, but not all that much. Taking a look at the PSC outage map here, you can see Puget Sound Energy still has 323 individual outages and 18,000 customers without power. So you can really see what's happened here is that the big outages have mostly been restored, and what you're dealing with now is just a lot of very small outages that are affecting a pretty large area here. You can see especially it's kind of this line from the east side all the way down through the foothills down toward Enumclaw and parts of Pierce County, and then over toward hard-hit Thurston County. And those are just a lot of really small outages that are being worked on here as we go to the next few days. These should start to get back online. So it was definitely quite a storm for a lot of places here across western Washington. And then you can see here on the poweroutage.com site here, 20,000 customers in total still out of power across western Washington. You can see the majority of those in Grays Harbor, Thurston, and Pierce counties, with some here in King County as well. So that should really start to get fixed here as we go through the next couple of days. Now taking a look at our overall pattern, you can see our troughing is moving out of the area today. Those showers will diminish. We have a transitory ridge moving into the area. This is not going to be here for too long, but it's going to bring a dry day on Tuesday, and then we get our system moving in here on Wednesday. You can see that trough clipping the area. Then we dry out again on Thursday, and then as we go into Friday morning, we remain dry until about midday, when a potential atmospheric river starts to move toward the area and could bring some heavy rain as we go through Friday and Saturday. So taking a look at the precipitation forecast, you see a chance of those showers today diminishing by this evening. We remain mostly dry there for most of Tuesday for the Puget Sound area, but then you can see the coast getting some light rain and maybe some light rain in the northwest interior. And then as we go into Tuesday evening, then we get this front moving in, and that continues through Wednesday morning. There you can see heavy rain overnight Tuesday into Wednesday. And then by the time we get to Wednesday morning, we're getting post-frontal here with some showers moving through the area. Those end by the time we get to Wednesday night, and then we'll dry on Thursday. And then you can see by Friday about 8 a.m. we start to get some rain off the coast, and then that rain spreads into the interior by midday and continues as we go in, and picks up really as we go into Friday afternoon. And then Friday evening, you can see as trick-or-treating is starting there, some pretty moderate heavy rain across all of western Washington and spreading into eastern Washington and the Cascades as well. And you can tell this is an atmospheric river because you got all this rain moving in and no snow falling in the mountains because it's too warm. You can see that atmospheric river starts to push to the south as we go into Saturday morning, and then another part of it associated with this low pushes through the area as we go to Saturday afternoon and evening. So we may have a couple rounds of rain with this, and this forecast will likely change a little bit as we go through the next few days, so we'll be watching it very closely. This is total rain as we go through Thursday. So with that Tuesday, Wednesday system and today's showers, you can see we're getting about another inch on the coast, about a quarter inch, 3/4 of an inch, to an inch on the coast there. A bit of a rain shadow going on over parts of Seattle and Everett there. You can see Seattle getting about a 1/2 inch, Everett about a 1/4 inch. Areas south like Tacoma and Olympia getting a 1/2 inch to an inch of rain. Portland also getting about a 1/2 inch to an inch. You can see the Cascades getting up to 1.5 inches, and areas from Everett northward likely getting a 1/2 inch to an inch and a quarter of rain there as we go to the end of this week. Or sorry, not the end of this week, the end of this system. And then as we go, you can see how the rain will start to increase again as we go into Thursday afternoon and then into Friday. You can see big increases in the rain totals potentially with that atmospheric river. But again, these amounts are somewhat uncertain, so we have to watch the forecast very closely to see how it plays out. Now taking a look at total snow through Thursday, you can see a little bit more in the Cascades, especially from I-90 northward there. You can see the North Cascades, higher elevations, maybe getting up to an additional 10 inches or so, and the pass is getting 1 to 3 inches as we go through this week, so not very impactful, and you shouldn't have any problems crossing the passes as we go through the remainder of this week, and then that atmospheric river will actually melt some snow as we go into the weekend. And now taking a look at wind gusts, you can see here, this is again through Thursday, and you can see we have winds gusting 40 to 45 miles per hour on the coast, 25 to 30 miles per hour in the lowlands, and then northwest interior maybe gusting 35 to 45 miles per hour. Strongest they're likely in the San Juans and Whidbey Island. So nothing too out of the ordinary with wind as we go through the rest of this week. We may have a little bit more wind coming in on Saturday with that low, so we'll have to watch that over the next few days as well. And then this is, again, we looked at this yesterday. We're going to look at it again today. This is the European model on the left and the GFS American model there on the right. And this is looking at precipitable water, which is amount of water vapor in the atmosphere. And you can see as we go through Friday into Saturday there is agreement on this atmospheric river signature moving into the area here. And you can see how it's somewhat quick, but then kind of bounces around a little bit as they sometimes do, and then starts to move south down toward Oregon and California. So it will be interesting to see how this trends over the next few days, if this is something that remains in our forecast, or if it pushes south, or if it maybe gets hung up over us a little bit more. So we'll have to see. So stay tuned for the next few videos, folks. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. And then, of course, let's look at temperatures real quick before we wrap things up. You can see today highs in the low to mid 50s across western Washington. We warm up a little bit there on Tuesday with highs getting up into the mid 50s there for most of the region. Areas south of Olympia maybe into the upper 50s. And you can see going into Wednesday that ridging, actually this would not be the ridging, this would be just having some post-frontal showers move through on Wednesday, getting some sun breaks in their highs into the mid to upper 50s across western Washington. Thursday you can see again highs in the mid to upper 50s, a little bit of offshore flow there. You can see some warming there on the slopes of the Cascades, and then as we go out toward the coast. Friday, with that atmospheric river starting to move in, highs drop to the low 50s, maybe a few mid 50s for the South Sound and the coast. And then going on through Saturday there, you can see atmospheric river, warm air, highs in the upper 50s to low 60s, and likely on the muggy and kind of moist feeling side there across the region on Saturday. So stay tuned for more on our temperatures as well, because the atmospheric river can impact those. Taking a look here at our temperature outlooks, you can see 6 to 10 day temperature outlook November 1st to 5th, looking at generally above average temperatures now for the Northwest. Not a super high probability of that like down in California, but likely a slightly above average. And then the precipitation outlook, which we didn't see there, is just slightly above average, so somewhat typical for November. Go ahead and check out the Western Washington Weather merch store. Got some nice long sleeve shirts on there, and you can see those at the link in the description below. So thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe here to the Western Washington Weather YouTube channel, and then check the link below for the merch store. And then follow me on the Western Washington Weather Facebook group, which just yesterday reached 2,000 members, so thank you all very much for joining in there. And then be sure to follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky as well. So thank you all very much for watching. Stay tuned for more as we go through the remainder of this week, and I will talk to you all later.